there's.
Look at that. Very nice, Michael.
Yeah, there you go. We're up in the production value here, guys.
It's 2024. I mean,
I like it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Welcome everyone. We are live. This is like the rules on this one is we just we go live. This is not canned. Anyways, welcome everyone. Mike, Dan, Sano. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Doing great. Yeah.
Very good. Sano, out of all of us, you've had an exciting last couple weeks. Where have you been? And you're back now.
Yeah, I just got back from Japan. I left at we left at 7 o'clock last night. We arrived at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So
yeah.
Kind of time travel. It was great.
Yeah.
17 hours.
And how are you feeling?
Surprisingly good. I got my circadian rhythm kind of resynced just like that. I'm back in action. Yeah. And
so tonight we have our client party that you host at your house.
Yeah.
Can we do bets on how long you will last?
Yeah, I would be interested in seeing that. I'll put my money on sort of midnight. That.
You're gonna have like your chance at dad for being in bed by midnight. I think with a Friday night, you might be up later than midnight.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right.
Yeah. Well, it should be fun, and we'll rally you. If we see you fading, we'll buoy you. We'll lift you up.
That's great. Well, I'm bolstered by seeing all of our clients, past and present, and it's always. I love this event because it's a great opportunity to just, in a very casual environment, sort of have a chat with everybody and have a glass of wine and just it's just very heartwarming, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so today we are going to talk about 3 topics. One is Christmas home buying and selling during the Christmas season. Home buying and selling during the Christmas season. That's number 1. Number 2 is we're going to be talking about market stats. Actually, we'll probably talk about market stats first, and then we will talk about housing affordability for the major centers in Canada, specifically Calgary, and it's just in relation to each other. So let's cut to the chase. Dan, do you want to go into market stats right now?
You bet. Yeah. Here, let me see if I can share my screen. Okay. Again, we like to touch on this daily housing summary. It gives you kind of a year-over-year look for the past month and the current month in Calgary to see what the market's kind of doing. So you can see for November, you guys can see that? Oh, there we go.
There you go. Sorry about that.
Okay, so you can see, for November, sales year over year kind of flatlined where active listings were way up. Interestingly here, kind of just partway through December, I know it's just a weekend, but sales are up a little bit and active listings are, they're still up, close to 50%. And this is on the overall market. What's interesting is if we flip over to the apartment side here, sales are actually down 25% and listings are up 67%. So relatively speaking, the apartment market is not as strong as everything else. So it's it's maybe that's an opportunity in the market right now, is if you're on the buy side for an apartment, that it's things that are softening a little bit. We've got a lot more inventory out there, and days on market are up. So that's probably an opportunity that I could identify here in the market. And
yeah.
What do you think is driving the apartments, like this kind of this apartment segment?
I think there's a lot of people. My guess is that apartments, probably a good portion of the apartments that are on the market have been rentals, and people are trying to. They've kind of had to ride out their annual leases in a lot of cases, and they're just trying the market now. And the market really peaked for all segments in, I would say, May, June this year. And so if people were considering selling and had to wait until October, September, November, whatever, it's kind of starting to flood the market a little bit with these apartments. So I think that that's probably it. And affordability on apartments is really not what it was even a year ago. So I think prices have come up. People are not quite ready to buy at that price range, and so stuff is sitting.
Any other kind of conclusions that we can draw from any of the other market segments like detached, row house?
Yeah, I'll take a quick look here at detached. I mean, detached is always kind of the strongest, I think, market when we look at when we break it down. So sales are up, active listings are up, but not as much. So detached, it tends to always outperform, and this is something that we come back to when we talk to buyers about what they're looking for. When you buy a property, even if you had just land, right? Land tends to appreciate and buildings depreciate. So, buying an apartment, it's all building. Buying detached, you've got, a good component of what you're buying is land. So I think it kind of proves that out in what we're seeing here in the States.
Yep. Cool. Any comments from Mike or Sano?
For me, I think it just speaks to the overall sense of the market. I mean, in a strong market, condos are the sort of I've seen are the last thing to come up or get hot, and are usually the first thing to cool off when things start to balance out. So I think what I've seen is that overall the market is a more balanced market. It's still not balanced or equitable, but I'd say we're closer. And I think that as Dan said, it came off the peak and things were less frothy than condos felt that the first. And I think we're just seeing more of that. So I think that there are still opportunities for sellers to get out of condos that they've been in for a long time, if that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
But across the market, I don't think that there's the opportunity to just ask whatever you want and you'll get it in this market. I think like anything now, you have to be sensible and accurate with your pricing.
Yeah. I think I want to make one comment regarding the condo market. I think that we are now seeing I think it's taken months, but the bylaw changes in the short-term rental kind of market that the city put in last fall, I think are starting to have an effect. I think where it's not as, it really affected the condo market, and where people are like if and then basically the bylaw that they put in was, if your condo board does not explicitly approve a short-term rental like Airbnb in writing, and you will not be able to do it. And so, what a lot of people did was, okay, we'll switch them to 30-day rentals to kind of circumvent this. But, essentially, I would say a lot of these investors, they created a business model based upon, earning the higher revenue amounts that a short-term rental that would be less than 30 days would bring them. So I have a feeling that, all of a sudden people are like, you know what, we've tried this like 30-day rental thing. It's not as great. And I think that's had an effect. Also, I want to say one more thing is, in Calgary, we don't have rent control, and you see rents coming down now. And so it's kind of like the market kind of at work here as well. And I think it's great. I'm glad that we haven't put in rent controls in Calgary, unlike Toronto or Vancouver.
Yeah, I think those are all good points that you guys make, and I just want to reiterate a point we've touched on it before. There is, when we look at absorption in the market, there's a shadow inventory of condominiums in the market that were built for rentals, that were purpose built for rentals, and some of them have to remain rentals, but a lot of them don't. And we don't really know how many of those could come to the market at any given time. So there's a lot more condos available that could come to the market than we actually know about, and gives me a little bit of caution in that market segment, but just something to be aware of, and maybe that's feeding into what we're seeing right now.
Okay, so let's move on to our next topic, which is should home sellers list their place during the Christmas season, and should buyers be actively looking for places during the Christmas season? So that's the first question, or first two questions, and then the second question is, if you're to list, do you put up Christmas decor? Okay, let's go. Someone.
Yeah. I'm going to start with the list. So we had a discussion with a potential seller just yesterday, and the question that we always get, or often get, is like, how do you time the market? How do you make sure that you've got the best chances out there in the market when you're selling? And I think it's really hard to time pricing, but what's easier to time is with respect to competition. So you can monitor competition daily, and you can see what's available and what's sold. And that, I think, is the opportunity for sellers in say December. If other people are taking their properties off the market for the holidays to get a break, then that could be an opportunity to list your property in a with less competition, and potentially attract a buyer who's out there looking. So
that brings up an interesting point. I'm just going to interject. So I'd like to take a poll. How many of you think that the advice to take your home off the market for Christmas is because realtors just want to take a holiday for Christmas? Yeah, no, I wonder. And I say that half joking, of course, but yeah, I will. I guess I'll add that I think it is, to Daniel's point, I think it's a great time to put your home on the market, because a couple of things. I know that we handle quite a few relocations for companies, and people will come into town for relocations to check out the market. They'll often travel at Christmas time, or they'll travel during the summer holidays. So those are the two opportunities for relocation clients to sell your home to a relocation client. So that's a good opportunity. The second thing was, of course, what Daniel pointed out, there's less competition on the market. And the people that, you get fewer showings on the market, but the showings that you get are absolutely serious showings. I mean, if you're out looking at homes rather than buying Christmas presents or, partying, then those are serious buyers. So the buyers that you get, the showings that you get during the holidays, Christmas holidays, are good showings. They're positive. And I guess to speak about, how should you decorate, I think absolutely, when people walk into a home, and you guys can all relate to this, it's more about, the feeling they get when they sort out the homes that they're going to buy. They filter the homes they're going to look at based on price, square footage, requirements, those kind of things. But what they buy on is their emotional experience, like walking into that home. Do they love it? And you can all relate to them. Somebody walking into the home and going, "Oh my God, this is it." Whether they say it or not, you can feel it. And they're like, you're trying to quiet, don't say anything, because don't say too much. But that's what happens. And so when it's decorated for Christmas, who doesn't have a warm, fuzzy feeling when you walk into a home with a Christmas tree lit and all that, right? Yeah. It just feels good. So those are the points I'll make on Christmas. I think it's positive. I think it's a good time to have your home on the market, and I think it's a good time, and I think you should decorate it for Christmas, because it all feeds into a positive experience.
Okay, I like that. Well, that's good advice. Michael, any take on that?
No, I agree. I think maybe the only caveat is depending on the part of city that you're in, and then sort of the cultural environment you find yourself in. Yeah. If you're in the far northeast, if you're in some of the other areas of town where maybe Christmas is not as predominantly celebrated, I'm going to maybe expose my ignorance, but if you had listed a few weeks ago for Diwali, maybe you caught a different segment of the population that are more interested in and feel more welcomed into the home and have that emotional connection when they walk in. But I think it's a good point. Like that, I do think you should decorate for whatever holiday it is that you are celebrating, and I think that you should, tastefully, maybe tone down the tinsel a little bit, or
just tastefully decorate.
Classy decorations. But I think that it is worthwhile, and I think that it does create an emotional reaction for the buyer when they're walking in, and I think that's worthwhile.
And okay, another question. This is the final question on this topic. Should for Christmas Eve, almost like the 23rd to the 27th, should you take it off the market just to kind of give the homeowners a break if they're living in the house?
I think that depends on the homeowner. If the homeowner is going out, or if they're going out for dinner on Christmas Eve anyways, and they're not home, they don't flick on the Christmas tree and let folks come through. To Sano's point earlier, if somebody's out showing on Christmas Eve, I have to say they're serious. Let them come through, provided that it's not a major inconvenience. I think.
Yep. Up to the homeowner. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments on that topic, guys?
No, I don't know why this came to mind, but I just thought, like, has anyone ever had kind of quack buyers that are like, okay, it's Christmas Eve, I just want to go out and see houses on Christmas Eve, just to annoy realtors and all. These buyers are out. We all know, we have reports, and by the way, if you're one of these guys, we have private chats amongst realtors saying, beware of this person. So they exist.
Yes.
Yep. Her name starts with an F.
Oh yeah, there's a couple names that I've seen. Yeah, where it's like,
out there.
Oh, anyways, we won't get into that.
Yeah, I've written an offer on Christmas Eve, but I've not been out showing on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, that's pretty hardcore, I think. But maybe it's like a Christmas gift. I don't know.
We came together. We got the deal done on it. So
I can say that I have, and Michael Z, if you're out, Z-Man, if you're out there, this guy was private pilot flying in from somewhere in I don't know, in the Middle East, and we did a deal on Christmas Eve. In fact, and he joined us for Christmas dinner, and he's one of our closer friends right now. So.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Okay. So let's move to the last topic, then we can wrap it up. Last topic is housing affordability kind of index that was just published by CMHC. And so I'll bring it up on the screen, and Sano, I think if you can lead the way on talking about this, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So this just came out this morning, and you're right, hot off the press.
Yeah. So from CMHC, sorry, go ahead, Sano.
Yeah, so CMHC came out with this report, and what they're doing is they're checking affordability in various regions of the country. And if you just scroll down to the chart on affordability, the rental affordability they talk about. Well, actually, maybe we can stop there at the rental. Go up to the rental part there, and they're just looking at rent to income.
Yeah.
Calgary has been quite affordable, as you can see. So, I guess the point I want to make is, and everybody asks this question, what's going to happen? How do you forecast the Calgary market? Well, this is one way. This is one piece of information, a piece of the puzzle that will feed into it. Calgary is relatively affordable, and if you just scroll down a little bit, you'll see that some of the areas of the country are less affordable. Toronto and Vancouver, for example, or it takes today 26 to 27, 28% of your income to rent in those areas, whereas in Calgary it's 21%. And then if you're buying, if you scroll down to the buying portion, it's even, I think, quite a bit more significant. So Calgary and Edmonton, and again, I don't know if you can include that part in the bottom. Yeah, that's great. You can see that, pre-COVID, they talk about pre-COVID, post-COVID, but Calgary, was very affordable pre-COVID, and that's maybe why we had such a bolsterous market, a buoyant market pre-COVID and then 2020 and so on, because it only took 25% of your income to buy a home.
Yeah.
Well, now the market is somewhat more normalized, and that's what we're seeing in all the data, the stats that Daniel spoke about earlier. Calgary now is 34%, so it's gone up it's gone up about 12. No, it's gone up 10 points on 25%. That's pretty significant over the last 4 years. Whereas Toronto and Vancouver, look at that, they're 58, almost 59. Call it 60% of your income. So we are, basically half. And we've talked about this before. So if the interest rates have gone up, have doubled, and they have for many people, that when your mortgage comes due, your interest rates doubled. And because we have so many people that are digital nomads that can essentially don't have to be in a particular location to do their work, it makes sense for them to move to Calgary, enjoy a great lifestyle, that things that we have to offer in Calgary, such as the mountains and all the recreation that we have around here, and then pay the same amount for your mortgage, in fact maybe less, and get even a nicer house for the same amount of your income. So those are the things that are going to drive Calgary, and they'll continue to drive it for the next few years, I would imagine. And I would also say that because of the anticipated, increase in the oil patch, that may even improve it further. So I think we've got legs in Calgary for a couple of years. So if you're looking for some place to invest, Calgary real estate's not a bad buy. Still.
Yeah.
Anything to add, you guys? Any insights you guys draw from that?
Well, we talked earlier when we were looking at the stats, we talked about opportunities. And when you look at Edmonton, I would say that Calgary and Edmonton probably don't have very dissimilar median incomes, but I think this is a reflection of home pricing more than income. So if you're looking to invest in the real estate market, maybe Edmonton is a great place to invest. I think that there's some opportunities there. So that one kind of stands out for me.
Absolutely. From an investment point of view, I would agree, Daniel. I think if you're buying investment in real estate, absolutely.
Yeah.
Michael, you got any thoughts? Both Michaels?
Yeah,
no, I agree. I think that, on both charts, the rent and the buy, probably the first couple of columns there were more a reflection of changes in income and not necessarily affordability on the housing side. But then I think certainly the post-COVID part of that graph directly reflects the change in the home prices and the rents. And I think that the incomes haven't kept up with the pretty brisk escalation of the pricing there. So, that's why we are relatively less affordable than we were, but still pretty affordable compared to the rest of the nation. But Dan drew the right conclusion there with respect to Edmonton. The home prices there seemed like, I think the delta is like $150,000 or $200,000 for roughly the same home between Calgary and Edmonton. So if you're looking from strictly an investment perspective, Edmonton's a great opportunity, but then you got to live in Edmonton. So there's the Calgary Edmonton dig. So
I wonder if did they quote the median income in the various cities? I wonder if it's. I don't think that they do, but I'm curious if it's different, or that much different anyway, between Toronto, Vancouver, and Calgary. It doesn't look like they do. I'm just kind of scanning it, but I'd be curious to know what that difference is if it does exist.
For sure.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's awesome. Thank you for finding that, Sano. Okay, I think we can wrap it up. Any other thoughts from any of you guys?
Well, I'll just add an anecdote from our Japan trip, because we were in Italy in May of this year, and we were in Japan just yesterday. and it's curious that I got the same thing from both. Like, there's depopulation of young. The birth rate is down. So
In Japan.
in Japan, actually across the world, the birth rate is down mostly. So in Italy, it's down pronouncedly, and also in Canada it is as well, and in Japan it's quite pronounced. So what's happening is that in the smaller regions of Italy, in small towns in Italy, you can buy a home for next to nothing, literally. The requirement is you have to invest some money to refurbish it, rehabilitate it, and I forget. I've heard that it's like you have to invest like 100,000 euro to renovate it, but you can buy these houses for next to nothing up in these small little towns. And the whole purpose is to have these young people moving back and repopulating these small towns where there's nothing but old ladies in black dresses walking around. And I guess that's a pseudonym for widows. And, but anyway, the same thing is happening in Japan, I heard. We were speaking with some business professionals there, and they said, yeah, if you move, a lot of people are coming to Japan. In the centers, it's still, fairly expensive. But if you move out to the country, you can buy a house for next to nothing. And people are doing that. A lot of people from the city are moving up to the country because of that. So that's an interesting anecdote for not only Japan, but I'm sure Italy and many other places in the world that are experiencing this sort of demographic shift, declining birth rate, and sort of depopulation.
Yeah. I wonder I'm not an economist, but like what effect it has on a country's economy when you are shrinking, like as a population, and not only shrinking, but like the bell curve of ages is just like getting further weighted to the 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds, and you don't have that replacement, that adequate level of replacement of working age people who are paying income tax and stuff like this.
That's right. Yeah. Social Security is gonna run out. They're paying less people paying into the coffers and more people relying on Social Security. So it's certainly a negative impact.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I can confirm that my Instagram messages from my wife are all the €1 homes you can buy in Italy, or chateaus in France. So that are like significantly dilapidated and need 5 years worth of work. So that they exist for sure, and they're often in small towns where there's not much else going on. So they are trying to repopulate those towns where it's just been a flight to larger centers.
Again, good thing we taught you kids how to renovate a house when you were younger.
Yeah, but we didn't do as much masonry, I don't think. Something I would need to learn.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it would be a lot of stonework. Anyways, lift with your legs.
Yeah, I have one last thing I just want to touch on. I was curious, I had to find out. So, Calgary. Give me 1 second to share this. So, Calgary pricing. This is as of end of November. Average residential price in Calgary $620. Detached price $802. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this and take a guess what Edmonton's going to be for the residential average and detached. Throw a number out.
400 for the residential average and 620 for the detached.
You close. 420, 550. So we're like a $200,000 spread on the average, 250 on the detached.
That's
so
crazy.
that just speaks to that previous graph we were looking at with respect to income and servicing the household. So,
Dan, I think that you make a really good point about like, how important location is. And that's a really tough trade-off, being in Calgary versus Edmonton. So, as well as I believe the build quality in Edmonton is not as good. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I cheered for the Oilers during the playoff run. Anyways.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in, and any clients that we'll see tonight, really looking forward to you joining us for our client party.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to that.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All great.
Later.
See you later.
Take care.